Peter, appreciate your time as always. Thank you. Is the regime desperately trying to resurrect itself here? Does it have any success in doing so, even as the IDF ramps up its attacks?
Well, it's certainly desperate days for them, and in Muitaba, I think they've found a very lesser figure to become the supreme leader. No theological credentials whatsoever. That was used to be regarded as critical for the job. And his real claim to fame is that he's been the leader of a group called the Basij, which is the thugs on motorbikes that go around suppressing crowds in Tehran and other cities. So if people want a Nazi analogy, this is the Ernst Röhm character, the guy who's in charge of the secret police thugs. He is not a person that's going to be able to negotiate with the Americans or anybody else. I think it does reflect very desperate days as far as the regime is concerned, the authoritarian regime is concerned. But I guess there are plenty of others that can fill that role if Muitaba finds himself dead in the next few days. And so the Americans and the Israelis will just kind of keep working through the order of the leaders that they have to deal with.
Yeah, it does sound like they are getting desperate. How big is the threat of proxies now? We've seen, Hezbollah, the Houthis. What happens here, and would that be of concern to the United States?
Well, we can't dismiss the threat. They're there. They, in isolated cases, have the capacity to launch missiles or drones. The Houthis in particular, I think, have got some reasonably sophisticated defence equipment. But they're much reduced. They've lost their command structures. They're clearly not going to be getting direction or support from the Iranian regime any longer. So I think they have declining strength. They can still do damage, but I don't think this presents a strategic threat anymore to Israel or to the American military presence through the Middle East.
Now, look, Donald Trump has said that he launched this Operation Epic Fury against Iran because he was convinced that the Islamic regime was going to attack first. Here's what he said overnight.
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first.
Has he got a case there, Peter, that had he not moved, Iran would have first?
Well, I think the context is that Iran has been at war with Israel and the United States, and I'm going to say even Australia. Let's not forget those terrorist acts that Iran commissioned in Australia in late 2024. Iran has been at war with the democratic West for years. And Trump's concern in particular was, well, what happens if it gets to a point that they can reprocess that uranium to turn it into weapons grade, and all of a sudden they've got nuclear bombs with missiles capable of carrying them. I don't know if Iran was close to an attack 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago, but certainly the broader context is they've been in a fight for a very long time, and I don't think any American president could really take the risk of finding an Iran all of a sudden equipped with nuclear weapons. So this has been something that the last 3 or 4 American presidents have struggled with, but only Donald Trump has had the courage to take it to a military operation to stop Iran from acquiring those weapons of mass destruction. And so I think he made a necessary call based on a piece of tactical information, which was the gathering of the supreme leader Khomeini with 40 of his closest friends, and that was reason enough to start the attack at the time they did. Perhaps the American plan would have been for 48 hours later, who can say? But, broadly, I think America was acting essentially in self-defense, understanding that Iran was a threat and Iran was determined to acquire nuclear weapons, and you put those things together and that becomes a threat which America just could not tolerate.
No, I mean, it's a threat, to the West as well, to the whole world, absolutely. Now, Iran has vowed to widen its retaliatory strikes. It's threatened to cripple Middle East economic centres if the US and Israel do not relent.